Welcome back to the Motivating Force podcast. I'm Josue. This is Justin. And hopefully everybody's having a fantastic week so far. This episode is going to go hand in hand with Monday's episode. So if you haven't checked that out already, we're going to be continuing on along with that conversation on, finding those characteristics and building upon that self-discipline within yourself, finding the appreciation for those milestones, those goals that you're setting for yourself to really appreciate this path of being successful and being that millionaire or having that millionaire mentality and characteristic now for that future, for that envisionment of what you want to become, what you want for your family and your future. And how do we start that? We've been telling you before, you got to start with the smaller goals. You need those smaller milestones to get you going. That's going to light that initial fire to get you, it's going to drive you. It's going to motivate you to pursue this path in life. Because if you don't start with those smaller goals, you're just going to be going day to day, a mundane routine, and it's not really going to do anything for you. Now that, you've been with us for a while, you've been listening to this podcast for a while, it's time to take that next step, right? You've already had that mentality because you've already been doing those small goals. But now we're going to be moving on to the bigger challenges in life and why that's important to appreciate and start implementing in your life, because you can only have so many smaller goals before you get burnt out. Now we have to move on to the next step. And when you do that, you're going to find that it's going to build upon other characteristics, not only the leadership within yourself and the self-discipline that you should already be having, but it's going to build upon characteristics like your self-worth, your confidence. You're going to start feeling better about achieving bigger and bigger challenges that you yourself are putting in front of you. It's one thing to have a challenge come up in your life, but it's another when you choose the challenge, you set that goal and you look at it like, okay, this is going to be something that I really have to work for. You're going to have to want it enough and know that you're able to do it. So once that gets accomplished, once you reach the end of that goal, that dead end or the deadline for that goal, you're going to feel so much better about yourself and your self-worth is going to go up because you just did something so big. You get your own trophy because you set the requirements that you needed to make and you did it. So it's like I said, if you have a bunch of little ones, okay, that's fine. That's getting you going. But when you have that big goal ahead of you, it's going to feel so much better and you're going to feel so great about yourself.
Yeah, and those little ones are definitely really important because if you're not that type of person, you're just getting into the whole self-improvement journey, making your life better, and you're starting off with these really big goals, you're not even going to know where to start. You know what the end goal looks like, you know what the final product is, but you don't even know the first step to take for it. So being able to focus on smaller goals initially and being able to accomplish them, because it does take smaller steps to complete, you'll start knowing what direction you need to head in.
You're going to be comfortable with doing that.
Yeah, and you're going to start to understand what those rewards are like. You're going to understand the feeling of accomplishment when you finish those smaller goals that you have, because that little bit just turns into a lot when it's a bigger goal.
Exactly.
But you can't just, decide to start running today and set yourself up for a triathlon. You're going to have no idea what you're doing. You got to start with that 5K first. Just do those 3 miles. That's all we want you guys to do is just do that little bit now. Get those little pushes going to get you in that right direction. So when you do have these bigger goals, you'll know what to do for them.
With those bigger goals, like I said, you get that feeling of self-worth is going to be so much better than continuing on with just smaller goals. When you hit that big one, you're going to feel so great. You're going to go to the next bigger challenge. You're going to feel even better. And then that feeling of like, I can conquer the world is really good, but it can also be very dangerous because you don't want to start taking on challenges that or taking that level of confidence and going down these wrong paths. Because when you start setting up the bigger and bigger challenges, obviously it's to get to this end goal, but you have to keep that ego in check. Because if you start taking that I can conquer the world mentality, you're going to start falling off to the wayside. You're going to, cut corners on bigger challenges. That one's going to fail. You're going to be like, whatever, the next one's going to be fine. then you'll just fall back down to smaller goals, to just not having goals in general. So you have to use that feeling of conquering the world intelligently and correctly to keep finding appreciation for this path, this lifestyle that we're trying to get everybody to uphold, to create for themselves. Because like we talked about Monday, it's all self-discipline. It's all, you are your boss when it comes to this lifestyle. It doesn't even have to be work related at this point, because this is the lifestyle, and you have to be able to implement these challenges and the search for challenges in any aspect of your life, private, personal, work related, anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great analogy, man, because you really are your own boss. You are going to be more accountable towards yourself. When you look at it that way, you know, your characteristics, your qualities, your values, that is what is going to make your business successful. And of course, that's professionally, of course, and personally. And when you start developing those things, working towards those things within yourself, and you're taking that responsibility upon yourself and being accountable towards that, it's a great thing, but it is a lot of work. And especially in today's time, it's so easy to not do that, that when you do set these bigger goals, you do want to keep that ego in check, because there is a lot of that going around too. But you also don't want to burn yourself out. You know, if you set these huge goals for yourself and now you're working overtime on this business that you call yourself,
yeah,
how long are you going to be able to do that for? You know, these goals that you set, they need to be able to be realistic. And like we talked about before with the SMART goals,
yeah,
it's a perfect setup for it, because you want to make sure that the relevancy is there and that you can complete it in a good amount of time. You know, you don't want to be burning yourself out on it. And again, if you set these smaller steps, you reach these milestones, and it's time to make a shift somewhere else, it's good to recognize that and be able to do that. Have that, you know, versatility, and just understand that every little thing that you are accomplishing, or big thing, it's just adding to your asset.
Yeah. And that's why appreciating those challenges, it's so important. It's very key in this journey. And like I said at the beginning, that this is kind of a continuation from Monday's episode, because your drive was envisioning your future, right? So the whole point that I'm trying to drive is that at the end of that line, once you do become that person that's retired, and you want to have the better outlook on life, you don't want to feel like you're just like, I just worked and I don't have anything to show for it, basically. But there's a quote that I found, and it really stuck with me. And I want to throw the disclaimer now, like, I have the guy's name, but I just wasn't able to verify his credentials, or like if it's really his last name, because the guy's name is Joshua J. Marine, right? I searched a while looking for the guy, and to find if he was a Marine or if he was just Joshua J. and he, you know, Joshua J. Marine was his last name. But the quote is what's important here. And it goes that challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Right? So really, at the end of your life, when you're looking back at everything, what are you looking back at? Right? If you turn around and these challenges, let's say they're like hills, right? That's beautiful scenery. You look back and it's just a straight line. Everything's just flat. It's just a plateau, just one-way street. Of course, to you, it's going to look beautiful because you want to take your Evo and just, you know, drag strip.
Good old Florida boy, man. Straight lines all day. Yeah.
Yeah. But for other people, like, you want to have that beautiful scenery. You want to look back and see all these challenges that you overcame. You know, you want to look back. You want to see different mountain ranges. You want to see Mount Everest, and you're going to go, I did climb that. I made it out alive. You know, you're going to feel so much better, and the appreciation for life itself is going to feel so much better at the end of that journey of achieving all these different challenges that you set in place for yourself. And to continue on with that quote that he has, challenges are what get me into a state of flow, and flow makes life worth living. So I look forward to them. And this is something that even if you have to write down and keep with you at all times to keep you motivated, I say that you should do that, because that's a quote that it's very meaningful. You know, it's impactful, very motivational, because you can just, if you're feeling down in the slums, you want to pick me up for the day, read that. You know, flow makes life worth living. You don't want to just be boring, achieving little small goals here and there. You want to do something with your life. You want to set some kind of challenge that you really have to work towards, really have to find the knowledge and the extra education, reading the books into things that you're interested in that really get you going. So then when you look back on it, you can appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, and something that comes to mind with that, especially that first half of that quote, it's got me thinking about like you're saying, when you look back on it and you see the hills and the valleys and the beautiful scenery, it makes me think, when you're looking back, do you want to look at the things that you had, or do you want to look at the things that you have? Again, like, we're so caught up in this world of, buying the designer clothes and getting the Lamborghini and doing all these things. That's what makes you successful. And it's the furthest from the truth. And especially when we talk about these goal seeking mentalities and building that asset of yourself and your self-worth, that Lamborghini, it's going to turn into a pile of rust just like that Toyota Corolla is going to. But that book, when that book disappears, it doesn't mean you unread it. You still have that knowledge, you still have that information from that, and you still applied that to your life and used it to improve yourself. And then that's something that when you look back in retirement, or even later on and on your deathbed, that's still something you get to look back on and realize, I have that. I still hold that with me today. That knowledge, those little nuggets of wisdom, they're all there. The Lamborghini is gone. The young girls are gone. The Gucci shoes are gone. But that knowledge is never going to leave you. So what asset are you really trying to build for yourself now?
Yeah, I like that point too, because it's almost like what I'm about to say with memories, because along with, appreciating life as it's happening, and, people have different perspectives when you say, like, you have to live life in the moment, or you have to really appreciate your life now when you're living it. But you also want to have something to look back on. And like, the saying or whatever it is, the destination is in the journey, or the journey is the destination. You get the point, right? The end goal isn't where you're going to end up and that's all you're working for right now. It's how is this going to be meaningful for that time? Like, once you're there, you're going to look back and you're going to see all these things that you've done, you've accomplished. And that's a great perspective with looking at it like a Lamborghini or a Toyota. But looking back at all the challenges are attached with memories. If it's work related, if it's relationship, because the challenges, I'm just saying it as an overall. It could be relationship challenges, it can be whatever, but whether they're challenges that you choose yourself, or they're challenges that are just placed, by karma, by God, by life, whatever it is, you should be able to confront them head on with a positive mentality towards it. Like, you want to overcome this challenge, and all these memories that are going to be attached with it. Yeah, some of them are going to be bad, some of them are going to be good, but you're going to want to look at them as a whole, that you did accomplish it. You made it out of this. It didn't kill you. You're good. You should be able to appreciate the fact that you decided to act on it accordingly, and you made the correct choices to overcome them. And you have this beautiful scenery. Like we said, the mountains, those valleys are going to be those low times. Those hard times, those bad memories, whatever. It still incorporates itself into this beautiful scenery, this beautiful landscape that you get to look on. And that should be the appreciation. You shouldn't just assume that there's never going to be bad times, bad memories, or bad results of, going about these challenges. I'm not saying that you're always going to accomplish them, but you should be able to learn from them and build upon that confidence within yourself and appreciation for the challenge itself.
Yeah, I mean, as they say, man, variety is the spice of life, right? Not everything's going to be daisies and rainbows for yourself. So you are going to have those hard times. You're going to have challenges that you couldn't complete, but you're still going to learn just as much from the failed challenges as you will from the successful challenges.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot. You might even learn more about yourself when you fail than when you succeed at something. Because if you succeed, you just know you're good.
Yeah.
When you fail, you're going to learn a lot about your shortcomings.
Well, that's why I said that thing about the conquering of the world mentality. Because when you do continue to just, you're always overcoming these things, you're going to feel fantastic. You're going to feel like you can conquer the world. But then you don't accomplish some of them, or you don't get the result that you wanted. You shouldn't just shut yourself out and never strive to achieve a challenge again.
Yeah, you just get that little humility check.
Yeah, and that humility check you learn from. That ego gets put aside and you go, okay, maybe I shouldn't let myself get to that mentality or that headspace of thinking that just yet. Maybe I need to grow in maturity a little bit, then tackle things differently next time. But learning from them, those mistakes are what helps you appreciate them. And like we said before, the whole point of starting with those smaller goals should be that cushion. So if you tackle too many bigger challenges and you just feel like you can't do anymore, before you stop completely and just do nothing with your life, let that pillow check be the smaller goals. Okay, let me just continue with the smaller goal routine. Let me just continue with that. I'm running. Let me make it to that tree. Okay, fine. I got to the tree. Next tree. Just keep it going.
Yeah.
You don't want to just completely stop. You want to continue that path. You want forward momentum at all times.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something for you to be doing. And it is better to slow down than it is to come to a complete stop. That's for sure. So if you're out of your big goals, you reached all your milestones for the year, everything's looking good, you're where you want to be. I mean, number one, you still got to plan for what's next, because that's the beautiful thing about having that mentality and being in with the self-improvement and whatnot. There's always room to grow. You can always become a better person.
Yeah.
And whether that's just staying consistent with like your workout routine, staying consistent with your dieting, staying consistent with your educational growth, making sure you're still reading even just a book a month. And even if you have 3 months where it's just that, it's just you staying on top of all of the kind of responsibilities that you've assigned to yourself to continue to improve yourself, and staying on top of it and completing that goes on for 3-4 months, you're still accomplishing something. It might not be nothing new, but you're still heading in the right direction. You still have that momentum ready to go for when that next challenge does present itself. Because instead of just being done and now it's time to relax and we can skip the gym here and there, and well, because we're skipping the gym, we don't need as much protein now, so let's go try out some of these new Oreo donuts they got at Dunkin' Donuts. By the way,
they're pretty good.
We'll go try those out after the show.
Okay.
So you get what I'm saying? It's like you don't need to be falling backwards on your daily tasks, the things that are no longer challenges for you, because they still put you in the right direction. They still keep you facing forward. And as long as you're facing forward, you'll see all those doors opening up and you'll be able to run towards those challenges and get out there and get after it.
Yeah, it's still part of your routine, and that's what you should always kind of keep as your baseline. You don't want to fall too far back. You don't want to lose all this progress and, see this valley that's really, or this mountain range that's so far in the distance that you can barely see it. You want to continue to paint this picture of a better landscape, of a better view that you can look at your life and appreciate when you're older, when you're at the end of that line. And like the smaller goals, that routine that we're talking about, it's always to get you in this mind space. You don't want to lose that headspace and that motivation, because now that you're here, it's solely on you. And I want that to hit a little bit harder than I think it is. I want them to really take that, like, it is on me. It's only on me because I don't have somebody that's, nagging on me to do all these challenges. My boss doesn't want me to get past him. He wants to continue staying my boss. So you should have a smaller version of you on your shoulder telling you at all times, this is what you need to do. You need to always achieve these challenges or set challenges in front of you that you want to overcome. That motivation should help that smaller version of you push you in the right direction. And hopefully here at the Motivating Force, we're able to kind of help push you towards the right direction. We want to get that motivation building. We want that fire to light inside of you. We want you to keep pushing on and overcome all these different challenges, because life is hard. But if you choose the paths of hardship or challenging experiences for yourself, you're going to appreciate them more than just looking at them as life is just out to get me. But when you're the one in control and you're telling yourself, I can do this, you can then conquer the world.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up too, is, you can conquer the world. And again, not in that ego sense, but in the world being of yourself and of that vision that you want to look back on in retirement, on your deathbed, at the end of the line. What peaks and valleys and castles and kingdoms do you want to see that you ran through and you conquered and that are a part of your portfolio?
Yeah.
And it really is a beautiful thing. And we appreciate everybody being here that are working on that, working towards that self-improvement, working on that journey, being with us here on a wonderful Wednesday, just getting through the middle of the week. We got all these kings and queens out there that are trying to live their best lives and move forward, and we appreciate you guys for doing that. We really do. And we'd love to hear from you. You can always comment down below. You can always DM us any questions, anything like that. We're more than willing to help you guys out. With this motivational thing we got going on and all the podcast episodes we bring you guys, there's a lot of research that goes into it. There's a lot more in our personal portfolios that we have to offer. So we're always here to help you guys out anytime you need it. And that's just another thing that comes with being a little small right now, is we get that ability to help each and every one of you. So feel free, send us a message. You can always do that here on YouTube as well as on our social medias. Probably a little easier to get a hold of us there, right? We've got Facebook and Parler at The Motivating Force. We've got Instagram at Podcast TMF. And of course, we love seeing you guys every Monday and Wednesday at 8 a.m. when we release all of our new episodes.
And until Monday, go and get it.